and what it represents. So not only today are we going to find it, but you have to tell what is that really representing? What's it giving us in this situation? Okay? So let's look at number 1. It says, first of all, above it says the graph below shows the cost of membership at Fabulously Fit. Sounds like a workout club, huh? We use the graph to answer questions 1 and 2. What is the slope of the line? Okay, let's first, before we even do that, let's identify what's going on here on this graph. You know, they said it's the cost of membership at Fabulously Fit. That's the title of it. But what are the two things that are being compared on here? Rose?
Number of months and cost.
Yeah, the number of months is on the x-axis, and the cost is on the y-axis. So these ordered pairs that we get are representing something. When the x value is representing the number of months, and the y value is representing the cost in dollars. It looks like they have a dollar sign behind it. So we're supposed to find the slope of the line. Okay, now notice something about the scales on the axes. Do they go by ones? Does the x-axis go by ones?
No, they're 50.
The x-axis. Does the x-axis go by 1? Did the number of months go by 1? Every grid line represent 1 month? Yeah, that one does. How about the y-axis, the cost in dollars? Does that go by $1? Every grid line is $1? No, what is it? $50. Each grid line is $50? Are you sure? Take a better look. Every grid line is representing $50 in number 1. 25. Every $50 is labeled, but the scale is actually, the y-axis is going up by $25 for every grid line. Okay, and that's an important thing that we have to observe also. Okay, because why? Well, if some of you are going to use the counting method to get the slope, when you count, you know, we always go up or down first. When you count, because it's going by 25, can you count 1, 2, 3, 4? Can you do that? What do you got to do? 25, 50, 75, 100. You got to count it that way when you're going up or down on this because it goes by 25s, not by ones. And then,
Mrs. LeGrand?
Yes?
Will you send Dakota Hobson to the office, please?
Yes?
Thank you.
And then when you're going over to the left or to the right, what are we going by? Now we're going by ones. It's 1 month at a time. So now we're going by ones. So you got to be really careful. If you're going to use the counting method on a graph like this, you can't just say, okay, I go up 5 and over 2. We have to be more careful. So I'm thinking that for the most part, probably what will help you be more successful with this is using that slope formula. So let's take our two ordered pairs that they have actually labeled on here for us, and let's use those to help us in the slope formula. So let's take the ordered pair 7. Could you read for me, what is the y value for that one? 295? Yeah. All the more reason not to use the counting method. Is 295 a multiple of 25? No, it's not even on a grid line. We don't want to use the counting method for this one. And then the other ordered pair is 2, 120, am I right? Yeah. Oh, is 120 a multiple of 25? No, that wouldn't work very well either. So we have to use the slope formula for this one. So let's make this one our x sub 1, y sub 1. And this one's going to be our x sub 2, y sub 2. And so then remember, let's remind ourselves. The slope formula goes like what? What does it go? M equals
Y sub 2 minus
y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over
x sub 2 minus
x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Thank you, Stefan. Okay, so now we're going to substitute into that. M equals, our y sub 2 is 120. Our y sub 1 is 295. Our x sub 2 is 2. Our x sub 1 is 7. Well,
Couldn't we switch?
we could reverse that order, couldn't we? That would have been smarter. But if you were working ahead and you did do that, that's totally cool. We should still all get the same slope, right?
I kinda, well, I think it's before we even started, like, I just counted up to where point is, and then I just counted over and I just divided them, and I got.
See if we get the same answer. Okay, we'll see if we get the same answer then. Okay. So, doing it in this one, 120 take away 295, now what is that? -1?
75.
Good job, Cameron. -175. And 2 take away 7. -5.
Oh.
Isn't it 5? Yeah. Okay. So M equals, what's a negative divided by a negative, class? Positive. How many 5s are there in 175?
35.
35 of them.
Yeah, I got.
That's the answer you got, Tony? I wonder how that happened. You know what? The only way you got away with it is because you pretended these were on grid lines. They're really not. This is on one grid line here, but it's not there. And you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175. Yeah. And then divided by 5. But guess what? In reality, only because they are exactly 175 units apart on the y's did it work out for you. You can't really count using grid lines unless it's on the intersection of two integers. So this needed to be 125, this needed to be 300 to really use the counting method, okay? So we're going to use the slope formula. Let's just all say, on problems like these, when we know what the x and y are representing, we're going to use the slope formula. So yes, Trey.
Now do we have to label what the slope represents?
Okay, well now we have to choose the one that is the multiple choice answer, which is B, right? Okay, so B is the correct slope. Now, we're going to move on, and it's going to help us decide what it's representing. Okay, so what does the slope represent? The enrollment fee, the late payment fee, the total cost of membership, the monthly membership. You make a decision on your own. But you decide first of all, before we even talk about it, which of those 4 do you think it represents? Some of you are so unengaged, and I'm not very happy. We are on number 2, and you're all making a decision about what does this slope represent. Which of those 4? So, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of you in here. I better be able to add up to 12 when I'm all done. All in favor of answer A, hand up. Answer A.
What?
Okay, 0. Nobody wants answer A or F. No, A. How about F? Thank you. No wonder why. What? F. Anybody want to answer F for number 2? Okay, 0. Okay. Answer G. Nobody wants G. Okay. H. Hands up so I can count. Come on, it's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for H. Okay, and then that leaves J. Hands up for J. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, 8 plus 4 is 12, so you've all voted. Okay. Well, those of you that want H, can you convince us why it should be H? Anybody willing to try and convince us why the slope represents the total cost of membership?
We don't actually, I think it is H.
I think it might be H now. You might be going back from J to H. Thinking, maybe. What would be the reason? Well, those of you who have J, do you want to justify J? Okay, Brighton.
The reason I think it's J is because it's talking about the months and the membership for it.
It's talking about the months and the membership for it. Okay, so you're thinking monthly membership. Well, but there's also some cost. Isn't one of the axes represent cost, and there's also membership going on?
Yeah.
But it's not mentioning a total
Does it say anything about a total anywhere? Okay. Let's take that slope, 35, let's put it over 1. Do this with me on your paper. Let's do this, 35 over 1. Is that legitimate? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And remember, upstairs, when we had that 175 or negative 175, what is that? Is that representing number of months? Or so is it 175 months or is it $175? That's dollars. So this would be dollars, right? And then that, well, it was 5 or negative 5. That 5 downstairs, is that representing, what's that representing? Number of months. But we simplified this, of course, so now this is still a month, isn't it? I mean, we just reduced it. It's still months. So $35, what's another word we use for the fraction bar? Per month, 1 month. So which one is it? $35 per 1 month. It is J, isn't it? It's the monthly membership fee. It is $35 a month to belong to Fabulously Fit. Okay, so questions on that? So in other words, when they ask us, and in your homework, you're going to have to write these out in sentences. So should we write this out in a sentence so you know what that would look like? Or do we get to do that somewhere else?
Wouldn't it just be?
Well, I think we get to do it in the next two, so we'll practice it in those, okay? But we could say what? What could we say, Trey?
Like, the monthly cost would be $35.
Okay, so we don't have to say month twice, so we could just even say the cost,
Monthly
Would be-
35.
or yeah, the cost monthly would be $35. We could do that, couldn't we? So in other words, we have to say that 35 we found, here's its role, it's telling us the monthly cost. Okay, let's look at number 3. The graph shows the number of emergency kits assembled by volunteers over a period of days. Find the slope of the line and tell what it represents. So, again, what we want to do is we want to identify, we've got this number of days on the x-axis, we've got this number of kits assembled on the y-axis. What's the x-axis going by? What's its scale? 1. It's 1 day at a time. What's the y-axis scale? How many kits assembled for every grid line? How many kits assembled for every grid line, Cameron?
4.
There are 4. It's only labeled, this is kind of tiny, isn't it? It's only labeled for 8, 16, and so on, but every grid line is actually 4 kits. So when we're counting, if we use the counting method, okay, we only want to use the counting method if these guys then, if the x's are multiples of 1, which they are, and the y values are multiples of 4. And are they? Are those multiples of 4, 24 and 72?
Yes.
Does 4 go into both of them? Oh, then we can count on this one. Or we can use the slope formula. We're going to use the slope formula just so that we can keep practicing it. Let's see. How about we have the bottom one be first this time? 224. And the other one is 575. Or no, 72. 672? Okay, sorry. This is so tiny, it's really hard to read up here. Okay, so now we're going to let this one be our x sub 1, y sub 1. This one's going to be our x sub 2, y sub 2. And we're going to substitute it into that full formula we wrote in the upper right-hand corner of our notes. So what's it going to look like upstairs? Somebody want to offer with a hand? What's it going to look like upstairs in this? Mia?
72 minus 24.
72 minus 24. What's it going to look like downstairs in this formula? Josh?
6 minus
6 minus 2. I heard you talking to yourself. I thought let's finish. Okay, so what is 72 take away 24, class? 20. 48, thank you. And 68 take away 2 is? 4. Okay, does that simplify?
Yes,
Well,
Yeah, doesn't 4 go into 12, into
12.
48 12 times? So this is really the same as 12 over, and we're gonna put that 1 there, because remember how we just found out that that 1 kind of helps us out? So when we can simplify it to an integer or a whole number, depending on which type of integer it is, we're gonna put it over 1, because now we're gonna say that's 12 what? Kits, yeah, those are the Y's. That's 12 kits over one what? 1 day, yeah. And do this, take the time to do this, because this is gonna help you write your sentence answer that says, what does the slope represent? Okay, so anybody want to offer up a sentence answer for this one for us? Trey.
There were 12 kids assembled in 1 day.
Okay. There were 12 kits assembled in a day. There were 12 kits assembled in 1 day, per day, however you want to say that. So that 12 has a role. You don't just find it, put it in a column, and you know what the X and the Y are representing. You say, oh, this tells me that those volunteers were able to put 12 kits together in 1 day. So any questions on this one? This is the type of thing you're doing in your home. Sentences start with capital letters and they end with punctuation and they make sense, right? They're a complete thought. Okay, let's do one more together and then we'll go and work on homework. Oh, it looks like it's a amount of flour in a bag. So what's on our x-axis? So it looks like some flour got purchased apparently. What's on the x-axis?
Purchase. Purchase.
Days since the purchase. So how many days have passed since this bag of flour was bought, basically, right? And then what's on the y-axis? Weight of the flour, yeah. So this flour starts out at a certain weight, and if you start using it, it goes down, doesn't it? Okay, and that's what the line is doing, is it not? How much did this bag of flour weigh, by the way?
Pound of flour.
How many pounds of flour was it?
5.
5. You're right here. It starts at 5 pounds, right here. At times 0, it is 5 pounds. Okay. So let's take our 2 ordered pairs. And I think we're learning that if we use the one that has the smaller x value as our first point, and the one that has the larger x value as our second point, maybe sometimes it just works out a little nicer. So 2 and 4.5, 4.5, and
4.6.
4.6? Okay, thank you. And what's the next ones?
5.4.
5, 4. Okay. Okay, so we're going to let this one be our x sub 1, y sub 1, and this will be our x sub 2, y sub 2. Go ahead and find the slope of this line. After you find your slope, if you agree with me, then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to give it a label. I want you to write it, put it over 1 like we've been doing, and label it so we can then decide what does it represent. Right?
How does 0.6 go into 3?
How does 3 go in? It doesn't go into a 3 is what's going into it. 3 is downstairs. We're going to take 3 into 6/10. So it's kind of like saying, without the negative sign, we'll ignore the negative sign for a minute. It's kind of like saying you have 60 cents and you're going to divide it up 3 ways. How much money would each person get if you divide 60 cents equally 3 ways? 20 cents. So does this without the negative sign, does this represent 20 cents? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So again, if you've got negative 0.2, which is what you should have gotten, negative 0 and 2/10, we're going to put it over 1 and say, and give it labels. So in other words, what does the 2/10 represent? Because it was upstairs, that's the Y's. And what does the 1 downstairs represent? Okay. Now, not only do those labels play a role in this, but so does the negative sign in our sentence answers. So anybody want to offer up what they think that means if you have a negative 2/10 pounds of flour for 1 day? What is that really telling us? Right?
So, by 2 pounds of flour are being taken away daily.
Okay, so there is a 2/10 pound, 0.2, which is 2/10 pound of flour is being used daily. There you go, I like that. Okay, let's write that out. So, that negative 0.2 used. Used means it's going down, isn't it? Instead of getting, we're not adding 2/10 pound every day, we're using 2/10 pound. So we'll say there was, because I don't want to start with a number, 0 and 2/10 pounds, and we don't abbreviate in sentences. I am letting you use the numbers in sentences. There was. How about there were? Sounds better, I think. There were 0 and 2/10 pounds of flour used each day. If we use the word was, then I should use pound instead. Was goes with singular, were goes with plural, right? Okay, so everybody understand what it is you're doing with this goal today after you find it? Any questions? Okay, then.